Hello, hello out there. Yes, it's been a while. As you can see, I have oxygen on. The COVID definitely touched me in a big way, almost dying twice. But I did want to share something. I watched a link where President Trump asked everyone to boycott um, Goodyear. Goodyear is an American company. I don't understand why we would boycott an American made company, a company that allowed an employee freedom of speech and had nothing to do with what he wore or what he said. I just think it's ridiculous. Like, are you serious? You want to get rid of that company? It just doesn't even make any sense. How about we boycott some of your people's uh, companies, the billionaires that you hang with, instead? And I know you can't see me, but this is important to me. I really need to speak on this. There's no reason, no good reason to boycott Goodyear. In fact, I feel like we should all use Goodyear and buy tires even more right now to let him know and see that this is not his country to just go and screw up. Just because he's a billionaire, he can just boycott Goodyear. That doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. That gentleman used his rights, whether he's still working there or not. I don't know, but Goodyear then has to apologize to him. No, 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 no. You don't owe him an apology. This man has made the top 2%, is what I would say. The top 2%, and we know it's more than that, top 2% not pay taxes, you know? And what about the elderly? What about disabled? He wants to cut Social Security and use it. He doesn't believe it's entitlement. It's just another form of welfare. But he still gives welfare to companies. He complains about people needing help, but he still gives welfare to companies. Come on, America, wake up. No one could be this blind to see that, there's issues. The issues are getting bigger. Our race relations are getting worse. Unfortunately, I was in a coma when Black Lives Matter movement actually really took off in a way of the protest and all of that. I do work behind the scenes. Even if the protests were there, I probably wouldn't have gone. But I do work behind the scenes because I do believe the protests are important, but I do believe that changing laws are just as important. So the people that are out there marching, I want you to march to the votes, because if you don't vote, your vote is going to Trump. So please, we are asking you to go to the polls and vote. You can do it. I know you can. I don't care if he doesn't want the mailbox. He can move every mailbox in the world. We showed out back in the day. We can show out now. We can do this, America. I know we can. The fact that he stated, and we didn't hear it out of his mouth, but he said it, that he would use hoses and dogs when he was in the White House to contain the people that were outside protesting. If it got violent, that is disgusting and disgraceful and definitely a racist statement. You know, if you guys want your racists, maybe they're not racist to you all, but you want your statues. I know I sound different than maybe most people. Get a museum, put them in a museum. And those who want to see them, they can pay to see them. You guys can make money, and it's a win-win. No one has to see it unless they want to pay for it. Get a museum. Fight for a museum. We shall be able to live equally. And unfortunately, we're not. But Black lives do matter. And until you have to wonder if your child's going to come home at night, you really don't understand. You can try and understand, but you don't understand. And unfortunately, there are some great, and when I say great police out there, there are some great police. things. But also there's some that are not so great. And unfortunately, the ones that are not so great, we need to get rid of. And we need to make sure that they don't go and qualify at a different station somewhere else. So, working on that, we need to change laws, people. If you guys want to do something, please, we welcome you to change laws. Looting, protesting, looting is out of the question because that doesn't do anything but play into their lies, until their wants. That's what they want you to do. So looting is out of the question. Protesting is good. I don't see anything wrong with protesting as long as it's safe and it's legal. Don't stoop down to their level because that's what they want. Good, another person locked up, so you can't vote. Make sure that you vote. Vote early, vote as soon as you can. Vote, please. It is important. Get your loved one to vote. Take your grandparents to vote. Take your 18-year-old kid, 21-year-old kid. Take them to vote. As long as they're old enough to vote, get them to vote. You have to be responsible and take them early. You don't have to wait to the last minute. Our grandparents, our great, great, great grandparents stood in long lines, hours upon hours, just to vote. And we have that privilege. We must take advantage of that privilege. The younger generation is here. They're ready for change. Change is good. Change is important. And Black lives do matter. And, I look back through history, and you educate your children on the way to behave and what to do, keeping your hands on the steering wheel for 10 to 20, 10 and 2, and then letting them know, hey, officer, I'm reaching for my ID. Is that okay? You keep your camera on the dash so you can press the live button before anyone even comes up. There's a lot of things that you can do to make your life safer. And it's sad, though, that we have to do that. There's so many Karens out there that are just thirsty to, call the police on people. We need to provide laws to protect Black people from being called on for stupidity when those cops could be somewhere else doing something else. I mean, it's ridiculous. So I'm just stating the obvious, and it's obvious in every nationality, every field of work, every field, every equality, from women to Blacks to gays to Jewish to, white is always right. And, we're not stating that all white people are bad, because that would be a lie. All white people are not bad. I mean, obviously, we have white people in our family. We have some. And they're not all bad. There are some good people, and there is some bad in every race. But we do want to make sure that we vote and our feelings are heard. So please, I am begging you, the Latino community, Black community, just the entire nation is supposed to be a pot of everything. That's what America is. And it was built by slaves. Systematic racism, it's here. And it's getting worse. And you would think after Matthew Shepard or, Gardner, or I could just go on Floyd, you would think that these things would not be happening right now. But unfortunately, they are. We need not to elect anyone who's racist. Unfortunately, Trump has put in enough court judges that are never going to leave their post. We need laws to change. If we don't change these laws, things will stay the same. People will die. We have to make changes. So please vote Democrat. Please, it is important. If you want to vote Republican, vote Republican. No one's going to hurt you because you want to vote that way. But we're asking for equality's sake. Please vote for Biden. It is the only option there is. Please vote like this is your life, because for most, it really is. If you have someone with a medical condition, if you didn't like the way COVID was handled, if you didn't like the way millions were spent on his golf retreat, if you didn't like the way DeVos cut out so many things that protected women from being sexually assaulted, or how about her pay? You know, $5,000 a day for security. Like, a book don't hurt that bad. Like, I'll stand in front of her and take the book being thrown at her for $5,000 a day. Like, these are jobs that you could hire people. Give them a job. They would take way less than $5,000 a day to protect you. Really. I mean, you have these jobs and you're giving them to people $5,000 a day. That's over $1 million a month. And you guys are complaining about Job and Family Service giving money away, but you give a Secretary of Education $5,000 a day just for the security. Come on now, that's not even her pay. And on top of that, she's committed a crime with her schools. I don't understand, like, what's really going on in America. We're going backwards instead of forward. Hearing about the lynchings down south, and they're saying they're suicides. So 2 people hung themselves from a tree. You don't have to be blind, crazy, or dumb to know that that's an issue. That house that got shot up, yeah, come on now. Our ancestors, so many died for us to have the right to vote. So many died for us to have the rights that we have right now. Freedom comes with a cost. Are you ready for that cost? It's not about looting. It's about voting. We need to vote. We need change. We need change. If change doesn't happen, then it'll be everyone's fault who didn't vote. Because all you need to do is go out there and vote. And you can vote early in those states that you can vote online. Not online, I'm sorry. By mail. You need to do it. You should be doing it right now. Vote as early as possible. Don't wait till the last minute if you don't have the patience to stand in line. And unfortunately, we should get some patience. See what our ancestors went through as far as standing in line. See what they did. They stood in line. Okay? There's no other option but to stand in line. And that's all I'm going to say for now. I want to end this with, please vote. Peace. That's just that we get out from the top.